Alright, so for the doubters of the RPM two-stage piston, there's the spacer. These are both exactly the same. Okay, retaining rings for the top of the spring, RPM, spring retainers for the bottom. These are the bladders. Okay, the big bore and the stock stuff. I can put a big bore cap on the plastic shock if you prefer. I usually do run those big bore caps on the plastic shock, but I don't want there to be any detractors that can say, well, it's tighter or it's more responsive to rebound because the plastic shock and the aluminum cap fit tighter. I don't want nobody to be able to question the results here. Not that this is a scientific comparison or scientific results or anything, but there's really no point in doing this if it's just going to have a bunch of, incite more disagreement. Anyway, going to be using low C 30 weight shock oil. It's clear. Okay, I'm almost empty on this bottle. I am going to be doing these two shocks, one for my truck, one for my son's truck. Going to be doing these two shocks plus all the rest of the shocks on the trucks, so that's why I've got the two bottles here. This one bottle should work just fine for the demonstration. I'm going to try not to cut if I can, but I am filming this with my camera phone. So if I can not cut, I'll not cut. If I have to cut, I'll make sure you can see inside that I've got the two-stage piston here and the stock piston here. It is a stock two-hole. I don't know if that's coming through on the camera so good. I can try to get it over into the light and show you a little better here. There you go, stock two holes. You can see them at 2 o'clock and 7 or 8 o'clock rather. And the RPM, you can see the holes there. So anyway, once I eat dinner, I'll be back to do the demonstration and finish the video. Okay, I dug out some tall springs that the shocks fit into extended. I don't ordinarily do this one-handed, so I don't usually need any sort of makeshift jig or anything, but see, there's the purple. Okay. And obviously it's the big bore. And the stalker, just to show you, because again, full disclosure. Okay, two-hole stock piston, stock ultra shock. All I did was get these stock rear springs out, and shock fits in them just fine. Okay. One second. Okay, what I did was I took the stopper out of the shock fluid. That's all I did. So if I'm not in the middle of the frame, apologize, but again, I'm trying to film this and do it at the same time. Okay. They're both equally pretty full, but I've got to bleed out the air and whatnot, so try and do this. See if I can figure out a way to do this easier. Here. Okay, so you've got the air out. A significant amount. Now you can see how unequally they're filled. Well, they're still filled pretty equally, but anyway, you get the point. No, gonna lose it. Okay, got it. Okay. Just so you can see, okay, you can see here, here's the cup the old shock fluid was in. You can see it's not clear anymore, it's kind of nasty and ugly. I do run the same 30 weight and pretty much everything. Okay, there's no other, I got one other big bore off the truck, but it's not opened up yet, okay. There's no other shocks around here in case I have to put the camera down. I'm not going to cut it, but if I have to put it down, just want to make sure those are the front springs. That's what we're going to test. Just want to make sure that you don't think I'm pulling a switcheroo or anything if I can't put the camera on the shocks again. So sorry about using the phone, but don't feel like using the heavy camcorder and dragging all that crap out. So here we go. Try and okay. So you can see the different shafts there. You know which shock is which. I'm going to take the remaining fluid here, finish filling them. And I think that's about it. Leave just a little bit at the top, I always do, for the kind of room for the bladder, sorta. Okay, so you can see I got a little sloppy there, but they're pretty much equally filled. Now I'm going to, oops. Okay. All I'm going to do now is put the bladders in. Okay. This one. By the way, I didn't eat yet, so I'm going to have to cut this one time at least, probably, if I'm not done building them before my wife gets back. So, yeah, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this one-handed. Okay, back. The big bore first. A little lint there. And screw the cap down. And just for habit, for posterity's sake, I always like to open them back up. Make sure that the diaphragm is still seated properly.